afternoon. It's already afternoon now. Those who operate businesses usually say, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Well, I come from a company where we say, if it ain't broken, innovate. We like to find common situations where people using them or working at them don't think they're broken, and see if we, using modern technology and a little bit of fantasy, can find new ways of making things more efficient, both for those who are victims of a specific process and those who have to handle it. Whymob is a small startup. We do business in more than one sector, but health sector is our focus, and we've been developing some systems for both asking customers and problems that we found out ourselves didn't exist but could be bettered. So in one of these projects is a new system for Portugal for managing the transplantation system from dead body to living patient with many years to come. And we thought it might be interesting to examine the opportunities of going international with the knowledge that we gathered during this project. So we asked the student, who is making a doctorate, if he could use the value creation wheel to look at the opportunities of going international. And here he is to present whatever he's found, which is great, we think.
Thank you, Henrique. Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Paulino. I'm a student here at Nova School of Business Economics. I'm currently finishing my master's degree, and I'm working on this thesis, so with Professor Luís Fuplage and Whymob, on applying the value creation wheel to this company, Whymob. So in the beginning, early in January, when I started this project, I met up with the company to understand really what was the problem that they wanted to address with this value creation wheel. So they had multiple products, and after some discussion, they decided that this transportation system was the one with the highest potential to be introduced abroad. So we had to carefully define the product as the web solution plus the mobile app, which has two sides for the patients and the professionals, and they wanted to apply this to new markets. So we carefully defined the research question as abroad, who cares about this solution? And we looked at ideas of people who could be interested in this kind of solution. So we gathered this by idea streaming, group exercise with students from Nova, also an outside-in view analysis to stress out the needs of the market, and the inside-out view to emphasize the attributes of this system and who could care about these attributes. So we gathered this list of potential interested in this kind of product. Then in the second stage, also in the second half of this stage, we look at filters. So the factors that would allow us to narrow down the number of ideas. And for this, once again, we look at different organizations. I did interviews with the Transplant Coordination Office in Hospital São José, and also talked with the Portuguese Transplantation Institute, with the national coordinator and the president. And I also did my own market research in websites and internal documents from Whymob, and 2 more group exercises with students from MIT Portugal and sciences faculty. So in the end, including also the input from the board of directors, I had a total of 51 filters. And just here to exemplify a bit of the filters, so I just randomly selected, just to show, a filter from each category. And for instance, the legal filter we had was the transplant legislation compared to the Portuguese one. So these are just to show you how the filters look like in this real case. Then, from this amount of filters, we had to narrow them down to a smaller amount. So I met up once again with the board of directors, and from the 51 filters, we managed to narrow them down to 13 most relevant ones, and I asked them to rank the filters. So from those 13, I had a final list of the ranking with the most relevant to the least relevant. And these would be the filters I would apply. So then, before creating the value creation funnel, I wanted to look globally. So I considered 189 countries in the world, which are the members of the IMF, and I applied the filters to these countries until I reached only one country. So this is what the value creation funnel looked like. So the first filter was considered to be the most important by the board of directors, which was the existence of a very similar solution. And then the second filter was the second most important filter, and so on, until I reached the final country that scored the highest and was the last remaining in this, which was Ireland. Now I needed to focus on Ireland more precisely, and I looked at the ideas that we had previously collected and who could care about this in Ireland. So there were three main potential targets that I saw, but by far the government was the one that showed the highest potential. And here are some numbers currently that transport activity in Ireland, which is managed by the government, and already quite relevant numbers. So, and also I looked at recent reports from the Irish government and the Organ Donation and Transplant Ireland, which is the entity that manages the transplant activity in this country, and they stated in the last report that they actually want to develop and enhance that national database for transplantation, which goes in line with our product. And also additional funding has been provided to improve transplant activity in this country. So after this, I came up with the concept of creating the Irish Transplant Registry, which is similar to what has been developed here in Portugal by Whymob, which has targeted also the government here in Portugal. So this would be, of course, a similar version, but adapted to the Irish legislation and the current procedures in Ireland. And this would be the advanced database for all organ donation and transplant activity in Ireland, including the web solution and the mobile app. So just to summarize some of the major lessons learned by the company, by the board, and by myself, the CSO considered that this was a valuable experience to learn more about who could care about their products. The CEO stated that the number of people involved allowed them to have a wider range of filters than if only it was considered by the inside of the company. And also myself, I thought that it was very interesting to consider a very wide range of solutions from the beginning without discarding anything early on. And also the constant feedback from the main decision makers was very helpful to keep the project improving and moving forward. And thank you very much.